North Carolina launches its first digital equity program. NTIA awards another tribal broadband connectivity grant. Glo Fiber is growing yet again. And a new board member at the American Association of Public Broadband. Those stories and more on This Week in the Broadband Universe. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Craig Corbin. NTCA, the Rural Broadband Association, held its fall conference this week in San Francisco. One of the first items on the opening session agenda, the 2022 Smart Rural Community Showcase Awards, which are presented each year in recognition of extraordinary achievements in promoting rural broadband networks and their broadband-enabled applications. Awards were presented to Aztac in Anchorage, Alaska, Serenity in Otsego, Wisconsin, Endeavor Communications based in Cloverdale, Indiana, Home Communications of Galva, Kansas, and Shawnee Communications in Equality, Illinois. Providers are awarded based on their ability to demonstrate the use of technologies to enable innovative solutions, improving economic development, education, healthcare, and other vital services. $24 million in funding from the American Rescue Plan Act will be used to launch North Carolina's first digital equity grant program, with the goal of helping state residents afford high-speed internet, obtain digital devices, and access digital literacy resources. Phase 1 will invest $10 million to develop or expand digital inclusion programs. The two-year non-competitive grant funding program promotes collaborative partnerships. Each grant winner must complete their projects by the end of 2024. Earlier this month, North Carolina officials announced grants of more than $206 million in its Growing Rural Economies with Access to Technology, or GREAT, grant program. Officials with Glo Fiber, powered by Shenandoah Telecommunications Company, or Shentel, announced agreements to deploy next-gen fiber-to-the-home broadband services in Hanover County and the town of Ashland in Virginia. Construction slated to commence on the two-year project during the second quarter of 2023 targets more than 20,000 homes and businesses. Glo Fiber provides unlimited multi-gig symmetrical internet access as well as streaming television and phone services in the Mid-Atlantic region, utilizing Shentel's 7,900-mile regional fiber network. Well, the National Telecommunications and Information Administration, or NTIA, this week awarded a $29.3 million Tribal Broadband Connectivity Program grant to the native village of Port Lions in Alaska. Funding comes from the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021 and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. With the latest award, the NTIA has made 70 awards totaling more than $755 million as part of the Tribal Broadband Connectivity Program. While residents of Florida and now South Carolina deal with the ravages of Hurricane Ian, more than 500,000 cable and wireline subscribers in Puerto Rico are still without service due to Hurricane Fiona from earlier this month. That according to figures from the FCC's Voluntary Disaster Information Reporting System. The number roughly half of the initial million-plus outages. Former Connect Maine director Peggy Schaefer this week was announced as the newest member of the American Association of Public Broadband Board of Directors. The AAPB works to advance the interests of municipal broadband efforts across the United States. I spoke earlier this week with Peggy about the work ahead for the association.
Well, I think that right now we're looking at, because there's some immediate stuff, right? There's long-term goals, right? But there's immediate stuff. And those immediate stuff are the challenge process for the mapping, helping communities figure out these tools, and helping states, I think. So each state has to develop a challenge process. We want to make sure that challenge process is level, so that it isn't that the ISP comes in and says, oh, I serve that area, and no, I'm not going to tell you how I serve them or what I serve them with, but I'm just going to say I serve them, and that's my challenge, and I win. No longer. This has to be a level playing field where provider, community data, and the intent of this program, which is affordability, universal service, and digital equity are all part of that challenge process, right? So if a provider comes in and says, I serve that area, and yeah, it's $150 a month, but that's what it costs, the community can say, nope, we got a better deal here. We're going to provide faster service, better service for less money, and the challenge then goes to the community because that's this money and because that is taxpayer money that's going to build these networks.
The AAPB works collaboratively with lawmakers, internet service providers, and other allied industry groups to advance high-speed broadband deployment in the United States. You can catch my entire conversation with Ms. Schaefer on the latest episode of the Broadband Universe podcast. Finally, while you've grown accustomed to Pepsi as a sponsor for the Super Bowl halftime show over the last decade, no more. A changing of the guard. The National Football League this week announcing that Apple Music has signed a long-term deal as partner of the iconic Super Bowl halftime show. Apple has been making inroads in the world of television sports with its Friday night Major League Baseball doubleheaders. The headliner for next Super Bowl halftime, Rihanna. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on This Week in the Broadband Universe.